live. We are live now. All right. Let me try to start to recording in progress. All right. Hi everyone. Good morning, wherever you may be today. My name is Sam. I'm a representative of DigiHive Network, and with me here we have our awesome speakers for today. We have Victor Jonah, who happens to be an Amazon e-commerce expert, and he's going to be here sharing a deep insight, or let me say some deep insight with us about the topic that we are having today. Also with me here, we also have our awesome Uduak Okure. We do call her Kera. If you know her, you know that you should expect a lot of energy from her today. And also as well, she's also going to be speaking to us about becoming indispensable at work. Right. She's a founder of Virtual Hive, and she have solid experience actually building teams, working with professionals, and also she has a track record of leading community as well. So, without further ado, I don't want to take too much of their time today, but I just wanted to remind you again that this is GIF Network, and today we're going to be talking about becoming indispensable at work. How can you stand out without burning out as young professionals? So, before I hand over to them to get started, I will just call on them to introduce themselves, and then from there, we are going to be getting started. Hi, Victor. If you don't mind, can you just introduce yourself to the house and let everyone know who you are?
Hi, hi everyone. My name is Victor. I'm excited to be here. And I am an e-commerce specialist exactly the way Samuel has introduced me, but I'm actually much more than an e-commerce specialist. I work within Amazon precisely. I've been working within the e-commerce space for about 5 years now. And I focus mainly on brand growth, on advertising, and performance analysis, and strategic decision making for sellers that sell within the Amazon ecosystem in the US and the UK. And basically, what I do is I use data in a nutshell to improve sales performance, to manage profitability, and also to scale brands. But beyond like the marketplace, I'm actually also deeply interested in automation. I'm also very deeply interested in digital systems and those sorts of things. And today, I'm just going to be walking you through. I'm going to be discussing how to actually stand out in the workplace, how to become indispensable in your workplace. And I'm going to be covering quite a number of things, just to talk about. We'll be talking about, things like having an ownership mindset. We'll be talking about things like having building internal influence. We'll be talking about things like delivering beyond your job description, everything in a bid for you to actually become indispensable in your workplace.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. I mean, that's a very solid profile, I must say. And we are super happy to have you here today. Okay, so before we go ahead as well, we have our awesome second speaker here as well, in person of Kara. Hi, Kara. Do you mind introducing yourself to us and telling us what you do? And then we definitely want to feel the energy right now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Uduak Okure. Most of you in the community know me as Kara. And thank you so much, DigiHive, for the opportunity to be speaking today. Um, I'm a virtual assistant. I'm an executive virtual assistant. I work with founders and teams to manage their workflow and make sure everything runs smoothly. And I also founded a community called Virtual Hive. This community is actually for remote workers and freelancers, specifically virtual assistants, to help them find internship opportunities with startup companies, and also for startup companies that are looking for affordable talents for their to run their team. And for this session, just like my co-speaker Victor said, we are going to be looking at becoming indispensable at work. Most of us are young professionals, and a lot of people struggle with standing out because they get to burn out trying to do a lot. So in this session, we are going to be clarifying the difference between standing out and doing, let me say, doing too much. So I'm really looking forward to the session and communicating and conversing with you all. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kara, for that awesome introduction as well. We have our amazing host here, right? In person of Eniola, who just joined us as well. So I'm going to be handing over right now to Eniola to lead the session, and I'm sure that you're going to be having a great time today. Hi, Eniola. Hope you're good. Happy to see you. I love your face. You're looking beautiful this morning, and having over to you right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My apologies for joining late. I was having network issues. Victor Ayudwak. It's nice to see you this morning. Thank you for joining us today. So we've spent a lot of time, and I'm very sorry about that. So I'll just go with a brief of your profiles to introduce you before we move into asking you the questions we have for you today. So first we have Udak Okure, a result-driven virtual assistant and customer support specialist with over 6 years of experience supporting growing businesses. She is the founder of Virtual Hive, a thriving community that trains, mentors, and connects virtual assistants and remote professionals to global opportunities. She is passionate about impact and she has trained over 2,000 youths through programs like the NI TDA DIP and the Google's On the Job, equipping them with in demand digital skills. And she'll also be sharing our practical insights on productivity, job readiness, and career growth on LinkedIn, helping professionals thrive in remote workspace. And we also have Victor Jonah, who is building a career at the intersection of e-commerce, tech, and AI. He specializes in e-commerce marketplace management on platforms like Amazon and Walmart, where he focuses on brand growth and advertising optimization and data-driven decision making. Victor is very passionate and interested in automation and digital systems, building tools and workflows that improve efficiency and also reduce manual work. Beyond his professional work, he is passionate about helping others transition into the tech space through practical results, focused training and programs. Thank you once again for joining us today. We're really excited to learn from your experiences today. Okay, we're starting with Uduak. Firstly, we'd like to ask you, many professionals want to stand out at work and they are not always sure about what that actually looks like. So, from your perspective, what does it mean to be indispensable in the workplace?
Okay, for me, when we talk about being in the indispensable, we're talking about becoming someone that your team can rely on without hesitation. It's not just about being the person that they go to whenever there is a particular job, but being someone that consistently delivers, someone that thinks ahead, and someone that you make it easy for your teammates to work with you, right? You understand the big picture of the organization, what the company is working towards achieving. You don't wait to be micromanaged. You don't wait to be chased on your deliverables, what you're supposed to do. People trust you with the important things that need to be done. They know that you're going to handle it very, very well. That is like the picture of what being indispensable looks like to me. Someone that is trusted to get the work done, someone that when a task is assigned to you, there is confidence that they don't need to be following up on you because you have done this before, you will do it again. There is that trust. That's the picture that being indispensable looks like for me.
All right. Thank you for that strong foundation. I really like how you framed that about being trustworthy. Now, I would like to bring in Victor here. Victor, how can professionals begin to build trust and credibility within their organizations?
I would like to say focus on those little tasks, right? Focus on those little tasks that um, kind of look very little, because most times those are the things that will actually build trust and credibility. I think most people sometimes think that in order for you to build trust and credibility within the workspace, you need to be able to execute quite a very tough project, quite a very heavy project, very hectic project. And then when you've completed it, people will look at you and say, oh, yeah, I can actually entrust this person with very large stuff. That's not really how it works in a real life setting within the work organization. When you join, most times they give you little things. So you actually grow from, handling those little things to actually handling bigger things. And the level of, accuracy that you deal with little tasks usually determines if people trust you to be able to give you, bigger stuff. And so look around your workplace. Sometimes what are the things that you do very repetitively? What are the things that your boss does very repetitively? Those little things. How accurate can you execute those things? How efficient can you execute those things? With consistency, people can see your track record that you've been correct, consistently executing those little things around you. You know your particular job as a your professional. You know some of the things you do very frequently. When people begin to see that you're able to actually execute those tasks consistently with a very good level of accuracy, they might not tell it to you out loud, but in the minds of everybody, you begin to climb a step higher in credibility, you begin to climb a step higher in trust, and that is how you actually build trust and credibility. You don't have to focus on the big things, just focus on the little things.
Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you for that. That's such a good point about looking at the little things around us and building credibility from that. Okay, moving on, I'll be passing the mic back to Udak. What are some practical ways employees can demonstrate ownership even if they are not yet in leadership roles?
Okay. Thanks for that question, Emila. So, like just like my co-speaker said earlier, it's taking ownership in the very little things. It shows in how you handle even the very little assignments, the things that have been entrusted to you. Taking ownership of that is one of the practical ways that that professionals can display ownership, right? Then instead of waiting for instructions like every step of the way, you think ahead. What needs to be done? What is the next step? What can I do next? Right? You communicate effectively. You don't disappear mid-task. There are a lot of people that when they're being assigned to work on something, they disappear mid-task. They have to be like, what's the update? What's going on? What's the progress report? No. Taking ownership is you knowing how to communicate effectively, updating every step of the way. When there are concerns, you raise concerns ahead of time so that it can be addressed. You don't you practice proactiveness. You're proactive. You don't wait until you're being asked, then you now react. You're proactive in your communication, and then you don't limit yourself to thinking people that take ownership, they don't process, no, that's not my role, I'm not supposed to do this. People that take ownership, they don't think like that. They think about, like I mentioned it, when I answered the previous question, they understand the big picture, what needs to be done. So they even if even if it's not really how would I don't want to complicate things by saying it's not your role, still do it. I don't want to complicate things by saying that. But what I'm trying to say is people that take ownership, they don't think like it's not my role. If something affects you, it affects the work you're doing. They step in to fix it. So that's what taking ownership is. That's what taking ownership is. And as professionals, practically communicating, doing the little things, and not limiting yourself to things because it's not in your job description is ways you can show ownership.
Thank you. I really love the point you gave there, especially the emphasis on taking ownership without waiting for a title. Yes. Okay. Victor, the next question goes to you. Sometimes people equate standing out with overworking. So, how can professionals maintain high performance without burnout?
I would say In order for you to be able to maintain a high performance without burning out, first you need to self-develop. So what you do with your time after work hours also plays a very good role in you being a high performer. If, for example, you are lacking in certain skills that will make you more efficient, what you do after work will actually determine, if you're able to actually be more efficient. And I'm actually drawing from an example earlier in my career. When I started off as an e-commerce specialist, I needed to deal with Excel sheet very frequently, and it was really slowing me down because I was really struggling with Excel. I would really take a lot of time dealing with one particular task. And then one period like that, I just decided to self-invest. So after work, I would go on YouTube and I would take courses on Excel and I would practice, practice, practice. And I was actually becoming better. So I had a task one time that my boss had given to me, and she was actually very surprised that I was able to finish it within 30 minutes. Usually it would take me 2 hours to finish that particular stuff. It was burning me out, it was burning my boss out. But from actually learning that stuff, it really cut out the time that I spent on stuff. So it made me very efficient. It automatically made me a high performer because now they also were able to like, oh, trust that, oh, this person is actually able to do other things. So now I'm actually making work easy for myself. I'm making work easy for my boss. And now I'm also a high performer. So I would say the way for you to actually be a high performer without burning out is usually what you do after work hours. And you can actually come and work your full 8 hours, because we all work 8 hours a day. We're not talking about working 10 hours. We're not working about working 15 hours for people to say, oh, you're really working. You can work your normal 8 hours. But if you self develop yourself, what you do after work will actually make you a high performer. And it's also going to make you efficient. If you're going to be able to execute a task in 10 minutes and now you can do it in 2 minutes, guess who is going to reduce the burnout for themselves? You're reducing burnout for yourself. You're also going to make yourself a high performer. And in these days where there is AI, there are AI softwares like Claude, there are AI softwares like, ChatGPT, Gemini, and the rest. I use Claude very frequently, for example. You can actually reduce, make yourself a high performer by being able to automate certain things, by training yourself on how to use AI and stuff like that. So that's how I would actually be a high performer without burning out.
Thank you, Victor. I'm glad you addressed this question using your own example, and that perspective is quite overlooked. So thank you very much for your emphasis on self-developing to maintain high performance without burnout. Next question is going back to Udwak. But before that, I hope we can all hear, and I trust everyone is taking notes because these points are really important. So Uduak, some people feel limited by their job descriptions, and how can professionals deliver beyond that JD in ways that actually create value?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say one thing. When we talk about going beyond your job description, we are not just saying it doesn't actually translate to doing more work. That's when I was answering my previous question. If you notice, I tried to be careful around that particular topic by saying, when I was saying, asking yourself, is this part of my job description and all of that, right? I try to be very careful there because people confuse that a lot when they say going beyond your job description, right? It means doing more work. But I would say that going beyond your job description is doing relevant work. So it's asking yourself what exactly you're doing. Is it relevant? Is it adding value to the team? Okay. So for me, I would put it as spotting the gaps. spotting the gaps. Maybe there is some, maybe let's say your team is working on a project and maybe there's something that is slowing the team down and you notice it, right? So taking ownership of something that maybe someone hasn't taken ownership of yet, and filling the gaps, for let me use a personal illustration here. um in my company, I I work as I support customers as part of my job description. I do customer support. So there is a situation where I don't know if any of you, in fact I think all of us can relate, because from time to time we do contact customer support to make a complaint about a particular service or feature, right? So how it works on our end: when a task comes in, it's assigned to someone. And then you now notice that this has been pending for a while. No one has attended to it, right? Probably it's assigned to someone already, but it's pending and it's like you're looking at it as a high priority ticket that needs to be fixed. So taking over, making sure you sort that out, right? It was not assigned to me. Well, it wasn't assigned to me, but it's something I can do, and it's something that would help the customer support process move forward smoothly, right? So taking over, getting it done, something like that. So, like I said when I started, it's not just about doing more work. It's about doing relevant work that actually enhances the entire experience of the team, that moves everything smooth for everyone working together in the team. So that's what it means when we talk about going beyond your job and adding value. So yeah, can you hear me, Eniola?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that perspective. I'd like to say, if you're enjoying the conversation so far, please drop a fire emoji in the chat and feel free to start sending in your questions. We'll be taking them shortly. Okay. Okay. So, Victor, what are some ways employees can position themselves as solution providers rather than just tax executors?
Um, Rather than just tax executors, I think my colleague shared something. Take initiatives. Take initiatives um, in order for you to stand out. Take initiatives. Don't just wait for things to be assigned to you first. Don't just sit around, especially if you're actually at the beginning stage of your career. One of the most important things you need at the beginning stage of your career, it's not really finance, it's stability, it's structure, and it's an organization that is able to point to you. So, but for an organization to point to you, you need to be able to point to the organization as well. And when you're actually very limited, there is very little you can actually do to point to the organization. So, one way is for you to actually take initiatives really fast, handle things before even raising it up as a problem. You don't always have to always keep bringing in fact, if you're the person that is always spotting problems, it might even be an issue for you. But if you're somebody who is able to spot problems frequently and take initiatives before you even raise it up, it kind of improves your stand within the organization. And as I was just discussing, I remembered early in my career when I started off, I had just done about 9 months, but I had a particular event that the CEO was actually very surprised. So I've been working as a junior um, brand manager for my brand. I had like a manager, I had bosses, and my boss was on leave. And one of the main products that was actually driving in revenue for the brand, about almost $1 million every single year, was taken down by Amazon. and we were really struggling. My boss was on break, but she was working from her break. We were really struggling to get this product live and to get this product back live. And while we were struggling, we were having periods of lost revenue. And then one time the boss called me, she was panicking, she was frantic. And then she called me, and then I had like an idea, and I already had gone ahead to actually even execute it. And then, but I hadn't told them. And then when she reached out to me, I thought it was a good opportunity to let her know. And I said, while we're waiting for this product to be reinstated by Amazon, how about I create a variation of that product and then pair it up with the other variation that is also driving in sales? So when people come to buy this particular product, we're already running ads on that product. They can see the other product, which is the bigger bottle, on the page of the smaller one. And it just blew her mind. And she was like, how did you think about this? I've been running this business for like the past, 10 years. I've never thought of this. And I went ahead to tell her, I've already done it. That simple thing that I did really solidified my position within that organization, to the point that when I left, it really pained her. She was trying to offer me exactly, she was trying to match what the next company that poached me was actually trying to offer me just for me to stay. It's been like 3.5 years since I worked for her, but I'm just saying sometimes she just comes around to just check how I'm doing. And I'm saying because of the initiatives that I took and the kind of impact. So one way for you, take initiatives. Don't wait for people to come and tell you what to do. And don't be the person that is always causing problems. Don't be the person that you need to always, set up. You need to always report problems without any form of initiatives. It's only going to bring your credibility down.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for explaining that mindset is very powerful and how you emphasized on, having a company or an organization rather that is willing to, pour in you, and one that you yourself you're actually willing to pour into, and the fact that that goes both ways. Okay, Duak, welcome back.
Thank you.
The next question goes to you, Duak. In your experience, what habits consistently distinguish high impact employees from others?
Okay. Thanks for that question. So, from my experience, I have worked with teams for over 8 years, and I have noted the people that keep getting promotions, the people that keep getting more work added to them, right? The habits that those people have displayed in the workspace has first and foremost been reliability. High impact employees are reliable. People know that when they assign something to them, it will be done properly and it will be done on time. They are reliable. So there's something that needs to be done, and they want the result as soon as possible. Guess who they would go to? Someone that is reliable. Because in the past, the person has delivered and the person keeps delivering. So the first behavior would be reliability, being a reliable person. If you're someone that when tasks are assigned to you, they have to check in. Victor, what's the update? Victor, how's the process? How is it going? Can you send let us see that if you're someone that's like that, they have to follow up on you, they have to be checking in on you. You're not a high impact employee, honestly speaking, because high impact employees are first and foremost reliable. Now, I mentioned this earlier when I answered a question. I spoke about proactive communication. I during one of my sessions, because I mentioned earlier that I do mentorship and training. During one of my mentorship sessions, I try to paint a picture for my students. I said the difference between a proactive communicator and a reactive communicator is you have a project that you're meant to deliver on, and they've given you a timeline. They said 6 p.m. this needs to be delivered, and then there is no light. you know that your laptop is like 20%, you will not get that work done and deliver it by 6 p.m. A proactive communicator will reach out to their boss, reach out to the team, and say, "Hi, team. Sorry, there is power outage. So this project I'm working on, I'm not sure I will get it done by 6, but I'm trying my best. So let's say 10 p.m. it should be sent out. That way, everybody in the team has that understanding that okay, this is not going to be ready by 6, but we are expecting it by this time. A reactive communicator will will wait for the laptop to go off, and then by 10 p.m., you come online on the group chat and be like, "Hi, everybody, I'm so sorry. While I was working on the project, my laptop went off. I could not complete it. Story, 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 story." Right? So, one of the behaviors of high impact employees is the fact that they communicate proactively. They don't wait until the issue. They communicate ahead of the issue. Okay. Then another thing is curiosity mindset. High impact employees are curious. They want to understand the process. They want to understand how they can. They want to understand. This background is that kind of distracting. There's this background sound that's kind of distracting. Okay, sorry. So I was saying that high impact employees are curious. They want to understand the process. They want to know what needs to be done and all of that. They don't just wait to execute. If they're just waiting to execute, oh, Victor, go and do this. Victor, you should do this, right? I won't call you a high impact employee because there is no curiosity. Victor mentioned something when he spoke earlier about taking initiative, right? If you're not someone that is curious, you would not know when to take initiative. So curiosity and taking initiative kind of like they come hand in hand. You have to be a curious person wanting to know what's going on. Okay, what how are things flowing? That is the only way you would know when it is time for you to take initiative. Okay. Then I would say the fourth behavior is problem solving. You have to be a problem solver. If you're not, you if that particular role you're occupying in your organization, if there was no problem, you would not be hired. The reason why they brought you to the team was because there was a gap. You were brought in to mind the gap. You're brought in to fill the gap. You're brought in to solve a problem. So if you're just coming into the organization, you're not solving a problem. That means you're not a high impact employee, because high impact employee, they're problem solvers. They solve problems. Okay. I love the way Victor was also doing storytelling. So let me just bring in a little bit of storytelling to mind. So I think in my work as customer support again, there was a particular time that I noticed that the tickets that we are getting revolved around a particular problem. Everyone was saying, "Oh, as I'm trying to do this is the issue." So we're getting high tickets for that particular problem. So what I did in that scenario was that I created a knowledge base. I created an article explaining how to avoid that particular issue coming up consistently. I created a knowledge base. So whenever someone messaged with that thing, all we needed to do was just to click the article that I created and then send out that article. So that article, it cuts down the time that we used to answer tickets by just sharing the article. And I think we had to send it to marketing, and they included it in a newsletter sent out. So after that period, I think the tickets that we were getting regarding that particular issue we dropped, because we had sent out a newsletter with the article, and also while we are addressing tickets, it was faster to address the ticket. So that's just the mindset of problem solving. And of course, I'll just wrap it up by saying that high impact employees don't try to do everything. You're not everywhere. You're not trying to do everything, right? You're focused on doing the right things. High impact employees know how to do the right things. So that's it.
That's really powerful, Dwak. Thank you for your emphasis on being focused on doing the right things and proactiveness. Okay, the next question is going to Victor. Victor, how important are relationships and collaboration in becoming indispensable at work?
Can anyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know how much to stress the importance of relationships because I'm someone who, you know, has had to learn, the importance of relationships in the workplace. And it's because I'm introverted, naturally. So most times I tend to just like to do my job and go. But that had to change very early in my career because I just figured out very fast that somebody who was incompetent with good relationships was going to get away with incompetence far longer than someone who was competent but had bad relationships. And developing relationships is so important because it actually, in the workplace, people relate with you based on two things. They relate with you based on vibes, and they relate with you based on competency. Now, competency is supposed to come before vibes, but in the real world, what actually happens is vibes before competency. So if you now have vibes and you have competency, there is literally no organization that will pull you out. Even if the organization is going through downsizing, they would always look at people who both have relationship and also have competency. If you are going to survive, especially at the early stages of your career, you need to learn how to build relationships with your boss. You need to learn how to build relationships with your colleagues. You need to learn how to build relationships even with the gate man at work. Because sometimes you might not know the conversation that the CEO and the gate man is going to have that will spoil the mood of the CEO when he actually gets into the office and he sees your face. You might think it does not happen, but it actually happens. Collaboration is also very important because in the place of collaboration, you actually get to interact with other people and you get to build relationships because activities usually like build relationship with people. If you're going to survive early on from your career, it's very important that you actually learn how to actually build relationships and because in the place where they are going to be discussing about promotion, in the place where they are going to be discussing about sacking people, somebody might raise an objection just because they have a good relationship with you. Somebody might, suggest your name for a particular position, for a particular project, for a particular task, just because you have a better relationship with them. If you only have competency, you're only bringing competency to the workplace, you're not going to survive in that environment for a very long time. I'm telling you this. You will not be able to survive in that environment for a very long time. Build relationships. And the way you build, like I earlier said, is in little projects. If you resume work, for example, learn to just check in on people and say hi, good morning. Don't just resume work and be like, oh, today I'm just focused on my work. You know, try to build relations. Hey, good morning, how are you? Small chats. I think that's what I want to say. Learn to have small chats. Learn to have small chats here and there, small talks here and there. How are you? Sometimes you can just chip in, oh, how is your family? Sometimes people will just literally say one thing or the other. And the more conversations you have with people, it's like web. So you're actually connected to that person. The longer you're able to actually keep talking and also you consistently talk, the web becomes stronger. And it's difficult for somebody who is attached to somebody to be able to just cut out from person. If your name is always coming up, for places where they need to always sack you or stuff like that, always check most times the relationship you're having. If the relationship is not that solid, they will not hesitate to drop you.
Okay, thank you, Victor. Thank you. That's a very important reminder. No one grows in isolation. And I'd like to also say this again. Let's not forget what you mentioned about competency and vibes. And he also broke it down into practical steps that even
It looks like we lost Eniola for a moment, but let me just add to what Victor said. In fact, I don't want to add because he said it in the whole entirety of everything. Please, can you hear me, Victor?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
I mean, what you said is so important. If you're in a work environment and you're trying to be a lone island, I'm telling you, you will miss out on a lot of things. You see those little office chatter. If you don't have relationship, you miss out on them, and that's how you miss out on key information that is happening. There is a vacancy, there is a role that there's a promotion coming up, there is maybe a few tree, there's something you get when you have relationship. Some people call it office besties and all of that. I'm just saying it's very important that in the office you you how would I put it, you are a teammate. You understand teamwork and you are a teammate. Like it's very, very important. Relationships are so important in the workspace. Okay. Then while we are waiting for Eniola to come back on the call, um just a moment, please. I think I'll just add a little something to all what we've discussed so far. I want to talk about the role that proactiveness and problem solving, the role that proactiveness and problem solving play in being indispensable. Don't forget, today we are talking about being indispensable. And as you are here on this call, I know you want to know, how do I become indispensable without burning out? Right. And that's what we've been trying to cover since the session started. So I'll just add throw more light to the the role of proactiveness and problem solving in being indispensable. First of all, I would like to say that being proactive builds trust quickly. It builds trust quickly. Please, I don't know if anyone can hear me. Victor, please can you
Yep,
confirm you
I
can
can
hear
hear
me?
you clearly.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. All right. So it helps to build trust very, very quickly. When you're proactive, you reduce the need for constant supervision. Your manager does not need to do the thinking for you because you're someone that thinks ahead. You're someone that thinks ahead. So there is when people say I'm being micromanaged at work. My line manager is always checking on me. He's always asking me, "What have you done? What are the progress that you've made so far? What?" Okay, I think Eniola is back. So let me just leave the floor to Eniola to continue. Thank you. Welcome back, Eniola.
I think she's still setting up.
okay,
Okay.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry about that.
No, it's
I'm
fine.
very
You're
sorry
welcome
about
back.
that. Yes. Um, the next question is supposed to go to Udua. So it's going to be practical. Um, Looking back at your career journey, what's one thing you started doing that significantly increased your value at work?
Okay. I would say one thing I did. Let me look at it because I think I've done so many things that improved my value at my workplace. And if I'm to rank and pick just one, what I would say is ownership, taking ownership, right? Because I don't really know how to put this, but there is just something about the fact that you spot a gap, you take ownership to get it done. You spot something that needs to be done, you take ownership. Do you understand? It makes people appreciate you. I'm not even just talking about your employer. I'm talking about your teammates. I'm talking about the people you work with. You know, they appreciate you more because um you don't wait to be told what to do. You understand? You take ownership and you get things done. So for me, that's like one of the things I would say I really did in the course of my career that really made me to become someone that is valuable to the team, someone that adds value to the team, taking ownership.
So I just want to chip in on what you've said. So every organization is actually out to make money, right? If you're not making money for that organization, if you're not improving the process of that organization, if you're not making things easy for the organization, you're actually not adding value. So you're not standing out, you're just checking in. And then I want you to put yourself in the shoes of your CEO. You know, sometimes people like to really say CEOs are bad people or sometimes managers, but I want you to put yourself in the position of a CEO or in the position of a manager where you actually need to pay, because sometimes you need to pay your staff salary before you even pay yourself, right? And would you want to actually keep anybody that is actually not adding financial value to the company? The person is not improving processes. The person is not making things easier. So the person is not making things easier. If, for example, you don't meet any of those things, you yourself, you will not want to keep that person for a very long time. So if you're working within any organization, try and see how you can actually help the organization to make money. If you're working in sales, for example, build yourself to a point where you're able to close deals frequently. If you're working in operations, build yourself to such a way that you're able to set up processes in the organizations, you're able to set up SOPs that makes the organization run autonomously without having the CEO or the manager to always keep looking at the entire process. If you're working, for example, in accounting, you make sure, for example, there are no issues with payments, there are no whatever it is you're working at, you have to keep adding value at whatever position you are if you're actually going to stay and you're going to stand out in any organization. Welcome back, Annie. Hi, Annie. Can you hear me?
I think she's muted, so we can't hear what she's saying. Just okay, I think she just left the call. So
Yeah.
let me just complete what I was saying earlier before she came back online. So I was talking about the role that proactiveness and problem solving plays, and I started by saying it builds trust very quickly, and I also talked about the fact that it reduces supervision. So if you're someone that is saying you're being micromanaged, they're always checking on you and all of that. That's I'm sorry to say, but it's because you're not adding as much value as you think you are, right? That's why if you're someone that is proactive and you solve problems, they will not see the need to be checking on you, to be micromanaging you all the time. Okay. So someone that solves problem, someone that is proactive will not have that issue of being micromanaged. And of course, in the long run, you become someone that can easily be relied on. You become someone that when they say there is a phrase I like to use. There's a phrase I like to use earlier on in my career when I'm like talking about myself, especially on LinkedIn. I would say your go-to virtual assistant, your go-to. I used to say like your go-to a lot. That was like my tagline. Your go-to virtual assistant for effective administrative and all of that. Why was I bold and confident enough to add that go-to? I added it because I have reviews, I have client testimonials, I have a robust testimonial base to show for the fact that I have been indispensable in the course of delivering my work, and my clients have said a lot of things, a lot of good things about working with me, how I helped to streamline the activities, how I made things more. So, and I was also getting good referrals. They'll refer me to another of their friends. Someone will refer me to another person. I was getting good referrals. And when you get referrals like that, it's a testament to how well you get work done. Okay. So in the long run, you become a trusted person, a reliable person, a person that one of the things I dislike so much, let me tell you right now, one of the things I dislike so much is referrals. Like referring people, because I cannot count the number of times I've had to refer somebody and then the person will not deliver on the work that I referred them to. And it's not like, I don't know, I'll end up feeling bad because I spoke highly of you and you didn't get the work done. It happened to me last month. I referred someone as a social media manager to a company, and it was always back and forth until the guy had to let her go. You understand? So these are the problems you're talking about, right? Being indispensable, someone that I can vouch for and say, Victor is so good at what Victor does. Victor is amazing. Just work with Victor. I offer him with my full chest. He will get the work done. Do you understand? That is what being indispensable will do for you. Okay, so Eniola is back again. So let's just hand over the baton to her. To yes. Or while Eniola is still trying to like manage her network, Victor, do you have any other thing to just chip into what I just said?
I actually wanted to chip in something. It was
Oh,
when you were talking
awesome.
about the micromanage, I remembered my own personal experience. And the reason I'm using my early experience is because I'm trying to relate with people who are starting out their career. And when I started working out within the e-commerce space, I was actually being micromanaged. The boss I had was actually micromanaging me. So almost every tax, I would say she had OCD. I've not seen somebody that had an OCD till I actually met her. Sometimes like the tiniest of something, it has to be done in a specific way. It was really a lot. And then for somebody who was just starting out, their career, there are some times where you would make, maybe even if it's not a comma in something, she will pick that thing out. And so because of that level of micromanage, that level of, being able to spot tiny things out, it looked like I was always being micromanaged. I was always being micromanaged. All my work needed to be checked over and over and over and over again, because she just did not believe anybody could do something as good as what she would, you know, require. It wasn't up until one particular event when the data analysis part that I've been sharing, she herself wasn't really good with data. And then we dealt with data, we dealt with Excel very frequently. But behind the scene, I was actually self-training myself. And then one time, you know, the task that I would usually use 2 hours to do, she would probably finish the task in like an hour. And I completed the task in 30 minutes. Herself, she was shocked. And then she reviewed it, there was no error. She took her time, she reviewed it, there was no error. She didn't say anything immediately. I did another one. She was shocked. That's when she said that from the previous one I did, she was actually shocked. And then I repeated it again. So that's when I told her. So if you're having someone, for example, that has to micromanage you every time, just keep self-developing till you get to a point where an opportunity comes where you have to prove yourself. Once you get to that stage, the person knows, there is like a shift that happens in the person's mindset to say, when you have a junior brother or junior sister, and one time you just realize that the junior brother is not that so junior, the junior sister is not that so junior. That's how it switches in their mind. It just something switches, and like this person is not that so junior anymore. I can actually entrust the person to handle these tasks.
Thank you, and my apologies again for the network.
No worries.
Before we wrap up, I'd like to ask both of our speakers.
No worries.
So, if someone feels stuck or unnoticed at work, what step should they take to reposition themselves? Yeah. When someone feels stuck at work or unnoticed, what's the first step they should take to reposition themselves?
Okay, okay. So,
So,
you, so, sorry. So if you actually do feel stuck at work, you're not getting visibility, for example, it's still boiling to the earlier conversations that we had. Build relationships. Build relationships, that's one. Invest in yourself. I think these two things are even quite enough. If you build relationship, when you're building relationship, try to identify the power brokers in your organization. Because if you're building relationships, if you're only building relationships with the people at your level and the people beneath your level, you're completely missing out like on key stakeholders, which are like the people that make decisions which are ahead of you. So you're supposed to build relationships with the people ahead of you. You're supposed to build people relationship with the people in your level and the people beneath you. But you are to take two particular categories important: the people above you and the people at your level. These two categories are actually very important. They are actually very important. And then also invest in yourself. If you just build relationships, you'll be able to sustain the relationships for a very long time with people at your level. But then if you build relationship and you also self-invest to build competence, you'll be able to build relationships with people at the top for a very long, for much longer time compared to any other category. For the people who are below you, you don't, if you have enough vibes, be able to roll with them because they themselves are also trying to build relationships. So that's one way for you to build visibility. Because if your work is good, over time, the people at the top will be able to see your work and it's going to bring you visibility, like the example I said. Also, if you keep building relationship, people will begin to notice your work. Also, those little tasks that you do every day, make sure you keep doing them frequently with accuracy. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. When you have opportunities to talk, talk. So that's it.
Thank you, Victor. Uduak,
Okay. I mean, first
would
of
you like to
all,
add
I want
something?
to. Can you hear me?
okay, I mean,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
can you hear me?
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please can you mute your mic. I
All
think
right.
there's like a feedback echo. All right. So, first of all, I think I want to applaud my co-speaker Victor Jonah because he has been dropping a lot of gems right from when we started this session, and even I as a speaker, I've learned a lot from him. Thank you so much, Victor, for all the amazing information you've shared with us here. So, I will stand on what Victor has said. It's very important for you to build relationships because like I said, a lot of important information that is flying around the office that would help you. You're going to get them when you relate with people. Then investing in yourself. I cannot overemphasize how important it is for you to invest in yourself. If you're there is always room. In fact, learning is a continuous process. You cannot say I have learned enough. There is the tech space is evolving. A lot of tools are. I mean, what could make you stand out in your workspace could just be something as simple as saying, "Oh, I just discovered this tool." For us that are working on this, we've been doing this. I just discovered this tool, and this tool is going to help us simplify our work process. That simple tool that you brought into the organization could be one thing that will make you stand out. I'm telling you. So you have to keep learning. You have to keep evolving. You have to keep upskilling yourself. Okay. Then lastly, I just want to end by saying this. There is a scripture that says, whatever your hand findeth to do it as unto God and not unto man. That means excellence. Embody the spirit of excellence. You cannot say you want to be a high impact employee and you are doing average. You cannot be doing average if you want to be high impact. To be high impact, you have to embody the spirit of excellence. Whatever you do, whatever is entrusted to you to do, spirit of excellence is hashtag one. Do it as best as you can. All right. So that'll be all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edward. So I trust we all jotted something down because I did. Yeah. Um, Thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope you're leaving with something valuable that you can apply immediately. Please don't forget to connect with our speakers and also to follow DigiHive on LinkedIn and Instagram. See you at our next DigiHive session. Have a great day.
Samuel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. So we are waiting for Samuel to end the live session. We are still live.
Oh, okay, that's fine.